She said her sister just needed a place to stay. Turns out, she was stealing more than space.
Don't miss the next twist. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell for more interesting stories like this.
I thought I had the perfect sister-in-law. Turns out, she was the one who destroyed my marriage. My name is Jordan. I'm 35, and I was married to Michelle for nearly 8 years. We weren't perfect, but we had history, trust, or so I thought, and a life we built from the ground up. We lived in a modest house in North Carolina, had a dog named Kobe, and even talked about trying for kids soon. Michelle was a teacher, smart, calm, compassionate. I worked in design, mostly remote, so I was home more than she was. That gave me time to think, to notice, to doubt. The first crack started when her sister Lindsay moved in. Lindsay was the younger sibling, 2 years Michelle's junior. Always a little more carefree, impulsive, and chaotic. She claimed she was going through a rough breakup, an on-and-off thing with some tech guy from Austin, and just needed a few weeks to clear her head. A few weeks turned into 6 months. At first, it wasn't a problem. Lindsay was fun, helped cook, made great coffee, and had a way of filling the house with laughter. But slowly, the tone shifted. She and Michelle had their own inside jokes. They'd whisper late at night in the kitchen. I'd wake up to find the two of them gone, out for a hike or brunch or some sister thing I was never invited to. Michelle started locking her phone. Passwords changed. She'd leave the room to take calls, disappear for hours on weekends without saying where she was going. Just errands. Just a little space. I trusted her. I loved her. But I wasn't blind. Then came the night she forgot her phone at home. It buzzed twice on the counter. I wasn't going to look, truly. But something told me to. That gut feeling you can't explain. The first message preview said, "He's still clueless. I feel bad." The next, "You sure he won't find out?" They were from Lindsay. My chest went cold. I unlocked the phone and opened their thread. What I read. Dozens of messages. Jokes about my routine. Screenshots of my calendar. Plans to sneak away. Conversations about how to ease me out gently if I caught on. It wasn't just flirting. It wasn't an emotional thing. It was physical. Michelle and Lindsay were sleeping together. My wife and her own sister. I don't remember much of that night. I backed up everything. Took screenshots. Saved messages. I called a lawyer the next day. But I didn't confront her, not yet. For 2 weeks, I lived in that house pretending nothing was wrong. I kissed her goodbye. Ate dinner with both of them. Watched Netflix with them on the couch. Every second, every smile, a lie. Then one night, I came home early from the grocery store. Their car was in the driveway. The lights were on. I walked in. And there they were. On the couch. Caught. Michelle stood up, face pale. Lindsay sat frozen. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just said, "You could have at least lied better." And I left. The divorce was fast. Messy. Public. Our friend group exploded. Her parents were horrified. My family was stunned. But the real pain came after. Nights alone in the new apartment. Wondering how long it had been going on. Trying to pinpoint the first lie. The first look. The moment I went from husband to obstacle. I found myself replaying conversations. Reading old birthday cards. Watching our wedding video. Looking for clues. There was a moment, during the reception, where Michelle and Lindsay danced together, laughing, clinging to each other like no one else mattered. I used to think it was sweet. Now it made my skin crawl. 6 months passed. I barely spoke to anyone except my dog, Kobe. I worked. I ran. I painted badly. I tried to forget. And then Lindsay emailed me. A long apology. She said it started as a joke. A dare. Too much wine, too many boundaries crossed. But then it spiraled. And Michelle, she didn't stop it. Lindsay said she missed her sister. That they hadn't spoken in weeks. That Michelle blamed her for ruining everything. She asked if I hated her. I didn't respond. What do you say to the woman who helped torch your marriage? A few weeks later, I saw Michelle at the grocery store. She looked older. Tired. We made eye contact. She tried to smile. I walked away. I'm healing. I walk Kobe every day before work. I joined a local painting group. I started reading again. I even went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just coffee conversation. There's a woman named Harper I've seen a few times. She's kind. Quiet. Asks about my art, not my past. And when she asked me, "What's the hardest thing you've been through?" I told her the truth. Loving someone who looked me in the eye every night while hiding everything. And she didn't flinch. I'm learning to trust again. Slowly. Carefully. Because once you've been burned like that, betrayed not just by your spouse, but by someone in their bloodline, it reshapes how you see people. But it doesn't break you. You rebuild. Piece by piece. Some nights, I still wake up and think I hear Michelle's voice in the hallway. Or I see her profile walking past a window. But it always fades. The brain clings to familiar ghosts. I've started writing again, not just emails or quick captions, but actual stories. I process things better on paper. I think that's how I'll truly heal, through telling the story in my own words. Maybe one day I'll look back at this and feel gratitude. For surviving it. For learning. For building something better after the collapse. I don't know if Michelle and Lindsay are still speaking. A mutual friend told me they both moved out of town. Good. I don't need updates. What I need is peace. And I'm getting there, slowly, honestly, painfully. Because while betrayal is violent, recovery is quiet. And the quiet is finally starting to feel like home. I started therapy 6 months ago. I used to think it was just for people with bigger problems. But the first time, I sat across from my therapist and actually said the words, "My wife cheated on me with her sister." Something broke open inside me. Not in a destructive way, more like a dam releasing years of confusion, guilt, shame, and silence. We talked about trust. About boundaries. About how love isn't blind, but we sometimes force ourselves to look away anyway. And I realized something I never allowed myself to admit before. I ignored red flags because I was terrified of being alone. That fear kept me quiet. That fear let them both stay in my house long after I should have acted. But I'm not afraid anymore. Last month, I submitted a short story to a local publication. It got accepted. It wasn't about betrayal. It was about a man learning to love the silence again after years of living inside noise. It was about me. And when I stood up at a small reading and shared it aloud, I looked up and saw Harper in the back row, smiling. And for the first time since everything collapsed, I didn't feel broken. I felt new.